call the Village of Goshen Planning Board meeting to order. It is, do we go by that? 2:45?
7:33.
7:33. And first on the agenda, and last on the agenda.
Only.
Steve Esposito? Steve
David
Esposito.
He's not here tonight. I'll be filling in for him. My name is
Okay.
Brian McGuire. I'm Peter's
Okay,
pal.
come forward. The application is Old York,
Yes,
correct?
correct. Okay, so I guess as a part of our preliminary approval, we agreed to come back and keep you guys in touch with our work with Mr. O'Rourke's office for the stormwater retention facility on the site. We met with Mike and Tully and discussed several options with them, one of those being the use of a bioretention facility, which is not a wet pond. It takes the stormwater, filters it through media and effluents to a pipe. So it's a little bit nicer on the landowners and for the town, since there's not a wet pond and wetland plants and similar issues that were raised. We attempted to use the bioretention facility, however, the geometries of the lots didn't allow for the proper space for that facility. So right now we're proposing a stand filter, which is similar. However, we have not met with Mike and Tully to further discuss that. We anticipate meeting with them in the coming days to discuss that further.
Okay, did you want to comment?
Yeah, we're in agreement. We're still hoping for the bioretention area, so we'll coordinate that. Basically driven by DPW superintendent who wants less maintenance issues. The other issue that they're supposed to come back and discuss with you is the issue of the sidewalks. The village board discussed that last evening. They put that under advisement, and they will basically keep you advised and probably coordinate a meeting with members of this board and with the DPW superintendent on the need or want for sidewalks in certain areas. Those are the two issues. So they're moving along, and that's pretty much the status of the project as of right now.
Okay, in regard to the drainage, so where was this facility going to be?
In the back of lots 10 and 11, which is right down
okay.
near the wetland.
Okay, so that's where it's shown on the plan?
It's the same place as where the
Yeah.
pond is shown,
Okay.
and it's just a different type of facility.
Okay. All right, and then, did you make a presentation to the village board last night?
I think Steve Esposito did. I don't know if Mike was present for that.
See, that's busy.
Was anybody there?
MacDonald was there? Was he there? No.
I do not know. I don't believe so.
Okay.
It was a
So-
village board, their attorney, and Steve Esposito gave a presentation, is my understanding.
Why in front of the board tonight for?
They're in front of the board because as part of the preliminary approval, just to make sure they're keeping moving on the project, you had, one of the conditions was 90 days, they come back in front of the board and discuss the current status of those issues.
Okay.
The discussion at the village board meeting that pertained to sidewalks, did they talk about taking monies in lieu of sidewalks, or was that discussed at all?
I do not know, although when I spoke with Steve this morning, he said he was coming up with the construction cost estimate for those improvements.
Okay.
I can speak to that.
Sure, tell us.
The discussion last night was vis-a-vis sidewalks in other areas of the village in lieu of sidewalks which may not be deemed to be necessary as part of this project, that they would be willing to finance sidewalks in other parts of the village that don't have sidewalks.
Is that accurate?
And
That's what Steve had mentioned to me this morning.
Yeah, okay.
And the mayor indicated that he would get together with Mr. MacDonald to discuss his input as to where sidewalks might be needed.
Okay, I know the minutes of the previous meeting, that would be August meeting, reflected that there was going to be discussion between the planning board and the village board regarding sidewalks in general. So anything specific about on South in regard to bus stop, school bus stop? You remember anything like that?
There was mention of a bus stop.
On South Street?
Was there a mention of any bus stops in discussion with the village board?
South Church, I'm sorry, South Church.
Not to my recollection.
There was mention of a bus stop, but, you know, when you're keeping an eye on your cameras and there's technology, sometimes
I wasn't present
it's
at that
not
meeting.
as easy to pay attention at the moment as when you watch it afterwards, so. I know there was mention of it, but I don't remember the detail.
I think that was
Sorry.
offered at the last planning board meeting.
We have it on video.
We'll get back to that. That's right.
Okay.
In respect to the drainage that you talked about, it's still going to drain somewhere.
Yes.
Where's it going to wind up?
Sure.
Are you going to filter it and clear it?
Yeah,
You
when
know, all that,
the
but-
DEC regulations, yeah, you have to filter and hold back the water. And drainage is gonna go in the same course it has always gone. So they're just gonna retain it and then discharge it.
The new,
Run it in like an outlet like this.
The new facility will be in the same location as the pond we were proposing.
Right.
It's on the lower end of the site, and what it does is it takes the initial small water quality storm, filters it through a small filter, and that takes out all the pollutants or particles, and that enters into a drainage collection system and discharges to this intermittent stream which runs into the village infrastructure.
Intermittent stream, village infrastructure, what is that?
Into the village stormwater collection system. Ultimately, it runs down South Street towards the...
Church Street?
Yep, South Church Street to South Street, or Parkway, I guess it's at that point,
Okay.
to this track.
Because that's an area that got flooded when we had the hurricane. South Street was closed.
The
Parkway,
facility will-
Orange Avenue, all of that area was flooded. So are we going to add?
No, that's why they have to hold the water, that's one of the portions that DEC makes you design these detention basins, so they hold the water back and release it as it would be in a storm. So they're not gonna make the situation any better than it is now, but they're not making it worse. By putting in roads and houses, you increase impervious area, so the water runs off quicker. So this, whatever we design, will hold that water back and slowly release it. So it's not gonna make it any better, but it actually may make it a little better. But
How do they calculate how much water they will retain?
it's based on a 100-year storm event. They run a computer model with existing conditions as they stand now.
Right.
Then they put in the additional impervious area and roadway design that they have. And they run the computer model again based on several different storm events. And then you do a comparison, then you come up with a volume of quality and quantity that you have to retain. They have to decide, then they size their stormwater management facility to treat that water.
And is this open retention area, or is it a enclosed retention area?
No, it's an open area.
Okay, so we will, from what I'm understanding, there will be more water retained in a pond type of operation? So this thing could be pretty deep.
Well, it's temporary. It's only a few feet deep at this point. The original pond was up to 12 feet deep.
The original pond,
As they designed it.
okay, so with the new design, how deep do you think it's going to be?
It should drain within 24 to 36
How deep
hours.
will it be?
4 feet, I believe, is the deep.
That's deep.
For a stormwater management facility, 4 feet is not deep whatsoever. Most of the drainage ponds in the area are much deeper than that. And again, you have different size slopes in different areas, and that's what we're coordinating now.
Will it be fenced in or not fenced in? It's just an open?
Again, it depends on the design, depends what this board wants, and what DPW superintendent wants. Usually, if it's a soft slope, let's say a 4-on-1 slope, it is not fenced in. If they're very steep, then you would have fencing basically to protect somebody from falling in. And there's a whole design with the pond. If it goes to a pond where it drops down, and then it's called a bench area, so if somebody did fall down, there's a flat area, and then it drops down to the typical pond itself. So there's safety features built into the typical design.
Well, this drainage, by the way, goes down Parkway through the track, out by the old Bank of New York Chase, through the government center.
That's where it was all flooded during our hurricane.
Actually, the track wasn't that bad, surprised.
Well, they had, South Church was closed, Parkway was closed, Orange Avenue, that whole area was closed. And I look at,
Well,
safety.
you're not gonna design and build for that type of
No.
storm event.
No, there's just trying
But
to...
it wasn't as bad as, say,
Washington.
well, or the center of the village, you
Yeah.
know,
I was there.
Goshen and Groon and...
I was there from 4 a.m. in the morning till 11:30 that night, so I know what it looked like before.
My office was somehow an island in the middle of that lake.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we need to take any action? This is
No, just a report.
reporting,
Just an
progress
informational.
report.
But I think you should tell the applicant when you want to hear back from them. That's the spirit of your original condition, so that this thing moves.
Okay, so how long has it been since we've heard?
It was June, I think, was the approval, so it's been 3 months.
So it's 3 months, so how about another 3 months? Is that okay, do you think? You're all right with that?
Yep.
Okay, why don't we do that?
I'll make a motion to extend it for another 3 months.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The minutes?
And how about those minutes? Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Well, Tully did a pretty good job, and Susan is absent.
What was that?
Yeah, Tully did a
Tully
really
did
good
an
job.
admirable job in your absence.
I'm there.
Oh, but we're not replacing you.
No.
Just in case you had any ideas. Okay.
I'm sure Art would second.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to accept the minutes as circulated,
So moved.
second? I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, now, correspondence, there's a letter from, Sims in regard to the Knolls of Goshen. Are there any comments about that letter? My goodness, plans dated from 2000 and then revised in 2010 for Knolls of Goshen have addressed their concerns. This is the Department of Health.
That's correct, and that's
Historic. I'm sorry, you...
I was going to say, fairly standard letter. They basically approve the plans, but they're not signing them, because once they sign them, the applicant cannot make any changes to them. So usually they get an approval, then they come back in front of the board, they get final review, any minor field changes, and then the health department would sign the map.
Okay.
What I didn't understand about this letter was the failure to request approval within 90 days may be sufficient for reason of disapproval.
If the health department, and it's basically the health department keeping their files clean. So if they grant you one of these, it's approved but we're not signing, you have 90 days to make all the changes, get all your approvals, come back, and then we'll sign it. If you don't meet that deadline, then you typically write a letter to the health department explaining why you did not meet that deadline.
Okay.
If you don't come up with a good excuse, the health department is just reserving their right to say, okay, we're done, we're not doing it anymore.
The health department gets the 10 years and the applicant gets the 90 days.
Bad.
That's not fully true.
Okay, what else is correspondence? Okay, ZBA minutes and ERB minutes. Okay. All right, does anybody have any other business to come before this board for this evening? Don't all speak at once? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second that.
Okay, meeting's adjourned. Next meeting is October 25th.
You do a great job.
No, that was one second, you missed it.
Michael, can I just ask,